I really believe that they're going to have illegal ballots. They're already going to have dead people voting. They're going to do all this. It's going to take every ounce of our energy and a lot of prayers to God to fix it.
I find the future very uncertain. I'm a professional. My husband is a professional. We both make six figures. I have excellent credit, and we're in a market right now where we are unable to buy a home.
I'm super excited to understand what are the politicians' viewpoints. How are they protecting our freedom? What is the digital side of this? Who's going to stand up for freedom besides John Deaton?
I have a vaccine-injured son, and it needs to stop. Some children react really poorly and some don't, so you don't know until you know.
Whether you agree or disagree, get educated, get active, get involved in your community.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Last week, I had the wonderful opportunity of attending the Tucker Carlson show at the Honda Center of Anaheim, California. The energy in the room was absolutely electrifying, and so was the patriotism. Men, women, and children from all over SoCal gathered together to tune into Tucker Carlson, Vivek Ramaswamy, and the one and only, the special guest, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I also had the privilege of interviewing attendees before, during, and after the event. But unfortunately, my team and I experienced some technical difficulties that impacted over half of my interviews. We'll blame it on the intense heat. It was over 100 degrees in Anaheim, and I believe it was the hottest day on record. So this video may only account for half of my interviews, but it still captures the essence, the perspectives, the uncertainties, and doubts shared by many of the attendees. So I appreciate you for tuning in and for listening to everyday citizens like you and I, we the people, share our concerns. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying the content and find value in what I'm sharing, I'd greatly appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support not only helps this channel grow, but ensures that you stay up to date on the latest and greatest content. Thanks for tuning in today and for spreading the word. Love you mucho.
I'm going to get right to it, June. Do you think that we're going to see a rigged election like we saw in 2020?
Yes, I really believe that they're going to have illegal ballots. They're already going to have dead people voting. They're going to do all this. It's going to take every ounce of our energy and a lot of prayers to God to fix it.
What else do you think is going to help us and combat the potential voter fraud?
I'm hoping that in the Senate, the Republicans are going to stay strong and not with their budget, so that they put in that we have to have voter IDs. It has to be citizens, legal citizens, and it has to be voter integrity instead of just anybody getting to vote. We have too many border crossings and too many people who come in who are living off the fat of our land on our taxpayer money. So it's got to stop.
Meanwhile, local residents are struggling to pay their electric bill.
Their gas bills, their put food on the table. We were just talking the other day, a dozen eggs was like $10. Like, never in my lifetime.
Wow.
Never in my lifetime. So I'm hoping that I love Trump, but everybody's mad at him because he's not a swampy person. He's very business. He kept us out of war. He kept us going steady, and our economy was great.
Thoughts on RFK's role in a Trump administration?
I love RFK. I really hope that he will take over health and getting all of the bad things out of our foods, because right now we have all these Chinese farms, and we also have Bill Gates who's doing all this GMO. That's not good for our children, and our children are our future. And if we don't take care of them, we have no future.
So you potentially see him at the helm of a 3-letter agency is what you're getting at?
Darn tootin'. You're a darn tootin'. He's gone through a lot of battles himself. He's gone through so many health issues himself, and he understands the swampy republic. Many blessings to him, and I pray to God no more bullets to anybody that we love.
You mentioned voter ID. What are your thoughts on some of those systems leveraging blockchain? Blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, which is immutable, transparent, and extremely efficient. Compared to the current voting mechanisms in place.
Let's go back to paper. Because in France, they can count them in one day.
Really?
And then look at the guy who took over Venezuela. Come on. I love his little thing, though. He's like, that's where I want Elon to do, not the Paragon.
Wow,
and
he's doing that out of this company out of California, this company out of California.
I love him for that. And it's time to move out of California. It's so expensive here. But
You know what
anyway.
else? It's very hot today too.
That is very, you have the hottest day of the year. So bless his soul out here sweating bullets for the team.
That's right.
Because it is 103.
Oh,
I have 103 on my Apple, but yeah. It's all good.
Good.
We're all here. It's for a good cause.
It
I
definitely
might get to see Tucker and Vivek. The only thing better would be him, Vivek, RFK, and Dan Bongino. We would be in heaven.
I love that. June, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So good to meet you.
You as
Many
well.
blessings to you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. Andrea, what brings you to the Tucker Carlson show?
I have followed Tucker for many years, and I at first did not agree with Tucker when he came out with the little bow tie years ago. I didn't always agree with his takes on items, but over the years, I love that he's able to talk about different perspectives that may be unpopular and maybe at some point canceled, and he's not afraid to bring things to light and just have everybody just question what's really going on.
What do you think some of those perspectives are?
A lot of things that we see that are happening, if you're not following, if you're just watching the local, or not even the local, but if you're watching CNN, MSNBC, there are certain topics that don't make the headlines. I feel like everything is just geared towards what people want you to believe.
So where do you source your information from then?
Several different ways. I look online. I do look on X. I follow various podcasts. There's several people that have worked for the media, the mainstream media, that have since left, that have different podcasts. And I do believe that it's shifting. The news is shifting into a new domain like the podcast world.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the platform X, because X just rolled out XTV. They're also that's Tucker Carlson's main platform now. Elon Musk has mentioned that X could be at the center of everyone's financial lives as well. What do you think the future of X, the platform X, looks like in respect to everyone's daily lives?
I think it's very important, and I feel like those that are opposed to X and those that have mentioned that they want to cancel X, I know that Kamala was just out saying that she would consider even canceling X. She's the first one. Her campaign, President Biden, they release statements to the world on X, and that's where everybody goes. And it is still a platform where there's still freedom of speech. I know they're trying to cancel in other countries. I think it's extremely important. And even though people oppose it, they still go there to find news that is unedited.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely important.
It's straight from the source. What are your thoughts on the potential of voter fraud in the 2024 election as we saw in the 2020 election?
That actually is very disturbing because we do not have to show any ID when we go to vote. Anybody can go in, and there are several countries everywhere where that is a requirement to vote. And I don't understand why we don't have it in the United States. We have to show proof to drive a vehicle, to enter into a loan, to buy something at a store. You have to show proof, an ID, and I don't understand when it's so important that it is overlooked. I don't understand. I don't get it.
It's almost like we should be taking our shoes off to vote before taking our shoes off to go onto a plane.
Exactly. And no, this is another thing that really troubles me is I do travel quite a bit for work and also for pleasure, and I am always in those lines. I take my shoes off. I have everything ready to go. I'm always afraid. I live in San Diego, and if I cross the border, I need to have my passport. I have flown into the San Diego airport, and I'm ready to go in these long lines when I see several people without ID just crossing right in front of me. And as a citizen, as a taxpayer, I feel that it's just really unjust, it's unfair, and I don't see how this is even happening today and how everybody would be okay with it.
That very generic statement when they say life isn't fair, that perfectly captures that moment, but that shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't. And I see it. I come from a family of immigrants. I am the first person in my immediate family born in the United States. My family fled from communism in Central America, and they came in this 1979. They had to go through the process. They had to seek asylum. It cost a lot of time and a lot of money. They did it. They came in. They became citizens. I'm not against immigration. I'm a product of that, and I love this country. I just feel like there has to be a vetting process, and with the open borders and everyone coming in, that's not okay. And most immigrants that have come in legally feel exactly the same way. I think there's a lot of misconception of Latinos being very liberal, wanting these open borders, and it's absolutely incorrect. And there are several of us that have come through, even recently, very legally. And there has to be a vetting process, and they can't just bring people in to vote.
What are you doing right now personally to protect your wealth and potentially your families as well?
You know what? That's a tough question because we're in a different time right now. Normally, I would say, okay, we make investments. As a worker, I have a 401k. That is very uncertain right now. We can try to invest in gold or silver per se, right? But that's still very uncertain. I find myself as I am not a financial whiz, that is not my forte, but as just an average American worker, I find it very difficult. I find the future very uncertain. I'm a professional. My husband is a professional. We both make six figures. I have excellent credit, and we're in a market right now where we are unable to buy a home. I live in San Diego. I'm born and raised in Southern California, and we are now living in an environment where even when we have fought, we've worked really hard all of our lives, we're not able to afford to buy a home with the interest rates, even with our credit scores being well. We've done everything right, and it is still very difficult. When it comes to inflation, I'm not sure. I don't know what we do. We're at a point where we worry about our future. We worry about our children and our retirement, how we're going to be able to survive. I'm not sure I can answer that question.
There's a couple things that you mentioned in there. 401k, I actually liquidated mine in 2021 due to the COVID CARE Act. You could liquidate up to $100,000 with zero tax implications. And then I rolled that into digital assets or the alternative investments. I took a risk.
Yeah.
You mentioned gold and silver being uncertain investments. I showed you the Constitution, then it says that gold and silver are legal tender. Would that reinstitute confidence in you? And if so, does it mean anything to you?
No, it does. But also, when you say that it's in the Constitution, one thing that kind of strikes me right now with the world that we're living in and the state that our country is in, just because it's in the Constitution, I've seen our constitutional rights being violated constantly. So that doesn't bring me any kind of solace or confidence.
It's like our Constitution's being ignored.
Exactly. So it doesn't. And so I have even thought, and I know that there is a lot of things that aren't approved in our country that are approved around the world, and it comes to cryptocurrency. And I think that maybe that is another area that we should consider. I know other countries have. And so we're very aware. And I don't think that people realize that maybe that people aren't so ignorant. They see what's going on around the world.
So you believe in crypto, the future of cryptocurrencies and digital assets?
No, I do believe that. I think the world is changing. The technology is changing, and we need to get on board. And if it's regulated and it is allowed, I don't think that it's a bad thing. But I do think that it shouldn't be shut down if our government or certain entities aren't going to be able to capitalize on that or control that. I think that we should consider taking a look at that.
Do you know the difference between, or are you familiar of XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin?
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Have you heard of all three?
Two of them.
Which one have you not heard of?
You have to repeat it to me.
XRP.
My friends are wanting me to know.
Okay, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum.
Actually, I think I've heard of all three.
Excellent. One last question. Do you know who Ripple Labs is?
No. I'm sure it's come across, but off the
Yeah.
top of my head, no.
Well, hey, Andrea, it's been a privilege and an honor talking to you, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to chat with you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for talking to me. I'm so glad that you are out here and they are speaking to people. I think the word is out. And hey, I may be completely wrong. I may be very ignorant. I may not know what I'm talking about, but at least you know what the average person out here feels and thinks and what our worries are. And so I appreciate you having this platform and using that to spread that because it's not being done.
Thank you so much.
So thank you.
Viva la raza. Love you mucho. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Mr. Kelly Niles, former veteran, current firefighter, believer in the future of technology, digital assets, and fights every second of the day for our freedoms worldwide. Kelly, how you doing today, sir?
Excellent, Ray. Excellent. I'm happy to be here at Tucker Carlson. I can't wait to understand what's actually happening. I do believe in freedom, and I want to believe in freedom. This is America. We're built on the foundation of freedom. And so I'm super excited to understand what are the politicians' viewpoints. How are they protecting our freedom? What is the digital side of this? Who's going to stand up for freedom besides John Deaton, right? So I'm super excited, happy to be here, happy to understand what are the regulation and what are the regulatory aspects of this and who's going to say what and when. Yeah. What a show we're watching, and I have my popcorn ready.
Oh, man. Now, when you talk about the digital aspect of this whole transformation worldwide, what are you talking about? How does this technology underpin freedom?
I would like to believe that we're talking about decentralized data as opposed to centralized or controlled data. I would like to believe that we're talking about innovation and technology for future of America. I would like to believe that we are talking about innovation for the world, globally. So that's what I would like to believe that we're talking about. We're not talking about regulatory capture. We're not talking about bureaucrats controlling everything. I hope we're not talking about globalists trying to capture the whole world and suppressing people and their freedom and their ideas and their innovation and their technology. This is what I would like to hear, and I hope that we're here for that, to understand how do we, the people of Earth, unite together. Yeah.
Excellent. What companies are ushering in those technologies that you believe are conduits for liberating our freedoms while we're being suppressed every day on all angles, from a data aspect, from a financial aspect, emotional?
You know what? That's a huge question. Great question, Ray. That's a huge question to answer. Now, you know what? For me, my journey in crypto, it began with Ripple because I believe in what Naveen Gupta said. They're here to put a dent in the universe, and I think they meant it, and I think they're showing it. They're here to put a dent in the universe. It's a proper party. Thank you, Christine. This is a fight for freedom, though. This is what I truly believe, and I think, and I feel. If our politicians are not willing to answer questions about ETHgate, and they're not willing to answer these tough questions about the SEC and the bureaucrats and other policies, if they're going to regulate, and they're not going to, thank goodness for John Deaton. He actually stood up for our freedom, for we the people. People around the world come to America for their freedom. And thank you, John Deaton, for standing up for we the people. Thank you. Vote John Deaton. Destroy and flush Elizabeth Taylor. This is insane. This has gone on long enough. Let's stand up and unite, and let's understand what we're fighting for, and that's our individual rights as human beings on Earth.
Love to hear that. What is it about, what do you think Elizabeth Warren represents?
To me, Elizabeth Warren represents the banksters. If she can go and tell Gary Gensler, who's a bureaucrat, hey, this is the questions I'm going to ask you, I hope it doesn't upset him. Meanwhile, Congress is collecting from scam, bankman, fraud. Come on, let's get real here. Let's get real. I'm a single issue voter. I'm here tonight because I vote on one issue and one issue only.
What is it?
Crypto. All right, XRP. What are we talking about? Are we talking about decentralized data? I'm here for one single issue, crypto.
Aside from processing payments and potentially being a currency or a virtual currency according to FinCEN, not a security according to the SEC or according to Judge Annalisa Torres per most recent ruling, with Ripple being sued currently by the SEC. Meanwhile, so you have the US government suing a private fintech company that's, I would say, providing a utility to the world that never been seen before. And at the same time, the US government is printing our dollar into oblivion, taxing us on every transaction along the every transaction that we make daily. Maybe your insurance, you're getting taxed on insurance, you're getting taxed on real estate, property, the coffee, the beer that these people are buying today. What else does blockchain represent to you, or digital assets?
We better call in the Sons of Liberty. Back in the day of the Boston Tea Party, they were taxed, and guess what? America stood up. We better unite. We better understand what's happening to us. Control. We deserve our own data. Data, I believe, is property, and we deserve our own right to our own property. And if the new financial system happens to be data, guess what? We still have the ability to own it. At least we should. And I hope that's alive and well in America. And I hope that this is not a R or a D, because that's a uniparty to me. I believe in being independent and having my independent thought. And that's why I'm here today for one single issue, and that is crypto. And so far on either side of R&D, there's only been one side that has said, hey, let's get some adoption. Let's quit playing around with these bureaucrats. Let's understand what we're doing and quit stealing America's freedom. And until there's answers to ETHgate and understand why innovation and technology is being sold off to China, we the people better wake up and understand what's happening to us. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Wow, Kelly, there's a lot to unpack here on all fronts. Now, you mentioned the company Ripple Labs. On the topic of government, we're seeing U.S. 43rd Treasurer, Rosie Rios. Her name is on. I had a $100 bill in my pocket. Not anymore. I got bills. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But regardless, so her name is on trillions of dollars currency circulating worldwide. When she's moving to a company like Ripple Labs, what does that signal to you?
To me, you don't have to be a genius and you don't have to be a rocket scientist for it. There's a reason why people like that in that class, in that caliber, that was the 43rd Treasury of America, went to a company like Ripple. It's because Ripple holds the innovation and technology for America, I believe.
Yeah.
If you look at it, that's what it is. So now the question becomes is, do we the people of Earth get our data?
That is the question. Maybe we'll find out more at the Tucker Carlson show later today.
I'm gonna go order some popcorn, extra butter. America, stay tuned. But let's ask, what about ETHgate? Thank you, John Deaton.
Thank you, Kelly, for your time.
Thank you, Ray. You're awesome, man.
I appreciate you.
All right, love you mucho.
Love you, mucho. Cindy, what was your thoughts and your overall experience here at the Tucker Carlson show?
It was freaking amazing.
Yeah, why was that?
Absolutely. Just the topics they cover, the things they discussed, they're right on point. Every single one of them brought a little bit different flavor. Of course, Tucker, and then getting deeper into Vivek, and he drilled down into it. And Kennedy really putting the nail on the head. What's wrong with our country? We're missing a lot of things, our freedoms, our medical freedom, our health, our children. Absolutely outstanding.
It was. Were you surprised that RFK came on stage?
Oh, absolutely. I was so thrilled. I'm so thrilled.
Yeah.
I've been watching this man for 20 years. He started the Children's Health Network, which thank God he did this for us, because he has been a beacon of truth and light to all of us to educate us about what is really truly going on. And he covers a number of issues all the time, every month. And on his newsletters, he really is our hero right now, because I think people are really wondering what has been going on with COVID and the vaccines. And we're seeing a lot of devastation with human health, right? So he has nailed it. he's on top of it and he's truthful. And I really applaud him because this is not about parties anymore. It's literally about all of us sticking together and talking about our children and the health of our families and going forward in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not parties. It's not parties anymore.
No, absolutely not. And the topic of nutrition and the lack of nutrition in our food is staggering. It's me. I'm a lover of In-N-Out, so it's rough for me sometimes to make that decision. Do I go and have a protein shake, or do I go and have a double burger? But regardless, though, it's great to still hear them talk about that topic point. What are your thoughts on the potential of a rigged 2024 election like we saw in 2020?
I'm very nervous, but I have faith in the American people. And I know that we're going to come through. I know Trump's going to win. I feel that very strongly in my bones and my mind and my spirit. But we have to work hard. We need teamwork across our country to talk about the main issues, talk about facts, right? So I am involved. I live in Idaho. I'm here with my daughter and her beautiful friends. And we're all very educated. And I think that even in Idaho and everywhere, we're very on top of stuff.
When you hear them talking about the suppression of our freedom of speech and even Tucker Carlson using or calling the platform X his home, do you see or do you use X by chance, formerly known as Twitter?
A little bit, yes, I do. Yeah.
Now, do you think, because they just introduced X TV, they've also Elon Musk has underscored that platform will be used for the freedom of speech. I go on there all the time and use Spaces, or I live stream from YouTube and push that content to multiple platforms. Do you think that we're seeing those trends of leveraging these new social media platforms for communicating directly to the general public, we the people?
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's a threat, and they know it, and they can't shut it down. And I applaud Elon for persevering, right? Because he's waffled a little bit, right? We don't know what side is he on. I think he's slowly stepping over to the right, and he realizes that the freedom and all of America, like how much we're at risk right now. Yeah. And I think he's pushing that narrative to move over to the right and keep the freedom of speech and keep the freedom of communication flowing. Yeah. So I hope that continues.
On the topic of information, where do you consume your information? Hopefully not mainstream media.
Oh, absolutely not. No, honestly, I do a lot of reading, lots of different things. Health, I do a lot of my own research. So I'm a kind of an oddity because I've been involved in politics for a long time. Okay. I'm a truth health advocate. I want to know as much as I can about what's going on.
What are your thoughts on cryptocurrencies and the evolution of digital assets?
Honestly, I don't feel like they're that safe.
Okay.
I don't believe in them.
Safer than the dollar?
I don't feel they are. I've only done a little research. Yeah. I don't feel like they're that safe.
There's a lot of potential pitfalls when navigating through these emerging digital asset and alternative investment spaces. But I do believe, just like we saw through the internet, the adoption of the internet with the .com bubbles, that some of those will percolate and rise to the top, the ones that provide you true utility. I was going to ask, what are your thoughts on maybe XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, others? But
I am not versed in all that. I just know a little bit, but I do not feel like it's a secure money line. I don't feel like it.
What about gold and silver?
I think gold would be good. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you know in the U.S. Constitution that in Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, it recognizes gold and silver as legal tender?
I have heard that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but meanwhile, we're conveniently not able to use it as a means of currency.
No, unfortunately, it's one of those things that the people who have the money are actually investing in, right? Obviously, the low-income people do not have that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. Going back to the topics of children, what are your thoughts? I have a 3-year-old, and so we take her to my wife takes her to the library, and the content that's being disseminated in those books is wild.
I think it's evil. It's very evil. And our children, I am a grandmother. Yeah. My daughter's right there. She's 40 years old. I can tell you that any of that information where they talk about sex and transgender, any of that can confuse children. Yeah. They don't need it. It's not important. It's really evil. It really is. Children need to grow slowly on their own and learn their environment, and their parents are their best people that have the best interest for their children.
Yeah.
So I have actually, in the state of Idaho, in the city of Meridian, we have fought a library bill. We tried to get porn books out of the library. We asked them to remove it from lower sections of small children and to remove it. And it was a huge thing. There's people who lost their reputation because, of course, the liberal Democrats come after us.
Yeah.
And so we are still fighting it, but we're making inroads. But there are associations. The Library Association is very powerful. They have a lot of money behind them. But we're going to continue to assist. But everything like that right now, parents have to be vigilant. We have to know exactly where we're going, where our kids are going, who's around them, what are they watching. It's unfortunate. It is. My daughter never grew up with that. We had Sesame Street, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the good old days.
yes, I know. I think it's awful, and it's just awful that they're doing this.
I really appreciate your time, Cindy. If there's anything that you could, any call to action or impactful messages that you were fortunate to witness today, would you mind sharing with the audience here something that you just maybe even your grandkids, if they're tuning in, is there an important message that you'd like to leave to them?
The mandates.
Oh, vaccine mandates.
My daughter. Absolutely.
Excuse me?
End the vaccine mandates. I have a vaccine injured son, and it needs to stop. There's something genetic. There's a genetic component with the vaccines, and some children react really poorly and some don't, but we haven't put any money towards it or any research. So you don't know until you know that your child will react. And the mandates have to stop, because once you're in this community, unfortunately, I'm now in this community of vaccine injured kids. You learn all these other parents and all these other moms are really in a crisis of their kids going to school. And in California, that's a really huge, roadblock.
They
And
can't even go to school without all these.
that has to stop. Just because my son is has a genetic predisposition to be vaccine injured, why does he then not be able to go to school? It's unfair. So you asked for a call to action. That's my number one thing.
Wow. I'm very sorry to hear that. Cindy's, your name is?
Yeah.
Jessica?
Yes. I was very pro-vaccine until my son got injured, and we all were.
My daughter was born post-COVID. So when the nurse asked me, hey, do you authorize to give, no, I still said okay, because I thought that's what's supposed to be done. We got to be mindful of what's required so they can go and get a normal education. And so but the fact that where the nurses have to, at least thankfully they asked us as the parent, do you authorize for your child to take anything? But still, yeah, we're looking to them for advice.
They're getting paid. They're on the payroll.
Yeah.
Okay, so they want you to get the shot because they get paid. You have to follow the money.
Yeah, okay.
Because actually in the insert, take vitamin K, for example, it has a black box warning label of death. They don't know that it's safe. It's a pharmaceutical. It comes with a package insert. A PI. If you read any vaccine PI, there's black box warning labels on a lot of them, and the risk is death. So it's not just a vitamin. And you know what? Guess what? You get paid if I inject that into my child, and there's no benefit to it. There's all the risk and no benefit.
I'm sorry to hear this, Jess, but I appreciate you sharing your story and mustering the courage. Yeah, thank you so much.
No, honestly, everybody needs to get informed. They need to educate themselves. They need to get active. We need everybody, whether you agree or disagree, get educated, get active, get involved in your community, because that's the only way we're going to make a difference, seriously. And I've seen it happen. We're seeing it. I started in 2007 and got involved locally in San Clemente, California, got involved there, moved to Idaho, got involved there, and get to know, vet your candidates. What do they stand for? Hold them accountable. If they're not voting for you, get rid of them.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we're doing in Idaho.
Awesome. Love to hear it.
Thank you.
Cindy, appreciate your time and safe travels back home.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, Jess. Appreciate you. Hope you ladies have a great rest of your day. Thank you.